your baby. Oh baby, fix. Oh baby, fix. Your babies. I want my baby fix. Oh baby, fix. Baby, fix. Static in the wire, power in the vein, plugging in the jack just to numb the brain. 010, yeah.
Look around you. The world isn't as quiet as they want you to believe. In the dead of night, the shadows stretch, the frequencies warp, and the truly bizarre leaks into reality. You've seen things you can't explain. You've heard the whispers in the woods, witnessed the lights dancing in the upper atmosphere, and felt your hair stand up when you thought you were completely alone. Stop keeping it to yourself. Welcome to the Electric Circus. Your hosts, the Joker and Drax, are unlocking the phone lines and pulling back the curtain on the absolute unknown. This isn't a lecture. This is your platform. We want the raw, unfiltered truth. I don't think it's human. It's standing right outside my window. From skinwalker encounters to shadow figures to UFO cover-ups and cryptids stalking the tree lines. If it's odd, unexplainable, or downright terrifying, we're asking for you to call us live. No judgment, just the truth. The studio line will be wide open. The Joker's wild, so smile and dial! Punch the numbers and save them in your phone. Call 386-227-7284. That is 386-227-7284. His Majesty's madness gives all things strange and weird a home. Break the silence. Tell the Joker and Drax what you saw before the signal goes dead.
So you care about the safety of children and their lives, right? Well, listen to this. In 1958, 92 children and 3 teaching nuns died in a fire at Our Lady of the Angels School in Chicago. It led to a nationwide reform of fire safety in schools. Since then, not one child has died from a school fire. The same principle should be applied today. The issue of school shooters is still a problem.
A gunman shooting down at these students.
As, of course, we now learn about even more school shootings.
And our Brittany Ehrman found they aren't building schools like they used to for this very reason.
The definition of school safety in today's day and age previously had not yet been defined.
With Minnesota-based 3D Response Systems.
One of the pushbacks we hear is we don't want our schools to look like a prison. In reality, our system is completely hidden so you don't lose that learning environment feel.
3D Response Systems is a multi-layered design to get the police there faster and provide tools for the people inside to survive.
I went there as a skeptic. I'm not a skeptic any longer.
Why isn't this in every school?
Because the loss of even one child's life is one too many.
But let's get this word out and make sure that we support folks like Representative Hudson and 3D Response System. And wherever you are, whatever state you're in, go talk to your school board, go talk to your state representative. Tell them about this.
For information, or if you would just like to help, download our info sheet PDF located under the Systems tab.
The 3D Response Systems design will provide safe spaces and a rapid response from first responders.
We should install in every school, public and private,
Kick in the door! Texas bitch, hear the crowd commit. Texas bitch, get off your ass. Texas bitch, or get hit. Texas bitch, raise your fist. Texas bitch, welcome to the pit. Texas bitch, get in the pit.
There you go, fellas.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, how you doing, Jason?
Good. Tom and Heather are in here. Heather's actually a representative of 3D Response in Tennessee. I'm sorry, in New Jersey. We're going to talk about Tennessee in a little bit here, but Tom is also a retired police officer and wrote a book or two, I believe. But I want to kind of give them a chance to talk about their show and what they have going on over in New Jersey. So go ahead, guys.
Heather, you want me to lead off?
Actually, she's currently offline, it shows. Sorry.
Okay, all right. Well, the name of our show is SOS Shadows of the Shield. And it's true crime stories, but we don't go after the big sensationalism type stuff. We don't hone in on like brutality of it. It's more of what the experience of being an officer deals with after the fact, when he retires, what he carries through on his daily life afterwards. Unlike other true crime channels, it's based more on that reality of the events. That kind of like, it's not PTSD so much, but it can be. And I guess in some level it is, but it's stories that stick with you. And we invite everyone that was in as an officer or even dispatch or EMS to tell us your stories and get them out there. And we also like to give a message to cases of like suicide and what the officer deals with, how that affects him, how the family that he deals with, telling someone, and I'm sure most of you are in law enforcement, or the majority have been officers. Giving notification to someone, to a parent that their child is dead, is traumatic, more so than you realize at the time. So we concentrate on stories like that, and we have some good stories, more uplifting stories too. But we like to share those stories, and we're getting pretty good feedback. We have over 3,000 subscribers now, and
we're trying to have a little bit of a mix. It's I'm here, guys. Sorry. We're trying to have a little bit of a mix. But it's important to get our stories out, because then all of law enforcement can share. I think that.
And we invite the stories, the interviews, and if you got a good story and you want to share it, by all means, we'll promote it.
And I just did their show last week. When does that air?
You hear me?
I can hear you, Heather. When does the show we did with Jason, and when does that air?
All right, guys.
I would, if she can't hear us, it usually takes about a week of editing to get it to, so probably next week.
Cool. And since Heather can't talk, I can kind of give, so Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did 30 years in New Jersey?
Yes.
And
I did 25 with the 20 in the prosecutor's office, and I was a county detective, civil side with consumer protection, weights and measures. that kind of stuff for 5 years.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Heather did a stint with. I think she kind of dealt mostly with was it sex crimes. Or am I wrong there? Or
I
no,
know
internet stuff. Child.
Yeah,
child stuff.
I created the high tech crimes unit for Camden County. That was I spearheaded that, and that was my baby for 5 years. My last 5 years. Had over 350 lockups of pedophiles, and that was child pornography was probably the worst of my career as far as what I dealt with, but the most rewarding.
So were you actually
Guys,
doing?
I think I got you guys. You have me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that.
So Tom, were you actually doing the computer forensic, watching the video stuff? Was that what
Yes.
you're doing?
Yeah.
So I supervised that. I don't know how in the hell you did that and not have a sane mind after that. I've seen a lot of guys go in and come out, and I think we keep people in those positions too long.
We do. In fact, I created a whole class on how to keep your mind. You can't be looking at these images all day long. So we would have break times. We would have certain things that avoided the triggers. Like I wouldn't let people listen to music because a lot of guys, they're techie guys, and they like to put their headphones on and then they look at the videos and they're playing like their favorite music. And I was always afraid that that's going to be a trigger to something you really saw that's very disturbing. And in fact, it did. It did trigger sometimes. Like you're driving home and all of a sudden you listen to your favorite song and now you're thinking of that image you just saw because you just connected that song to that image unwittingly.
Dude,
Unknowingly.
I've never thought about it that way, but that is a very smart thought.
Yeah, so I mean-
Honestly, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And the prosecutor
So I've got
was, she gave me carte blanche on how to design the lab, and because she when I pitched the high tech crimes unit to the county, they gave me I had to promise them 4 lockups in the county, and I ended up giving them 50 that year. So they just
I
whatever
think the general public doesn't realize how many. I know in my city when I was lieutenant of investigations, I oversaw basically all the cases that came, and by far the number one common case was possession of child porn. It was so. I mean, it 10-to-1 outnumbered like burglaries. It was almost a daily occurrence.
It was.
How much of that is out there?
We did 2 lockups a week. It became because it could have done more, but we had to do search warrants. You got to get the.
So I've got a question about that. So when you've got somebody that's certified in ICACs, how do you make that transition from like one investigator to another with the way some of this stuff steamrolls, like the rabbit holes that are opened up when you start one investigation and then you come upon another suspect and you've got an investigator, because you have to have certain certification to even be able to do that. So how do you make that transition from one investigator to another if you do look at that option of switching people out?
Right. Well, it's a good question. You get your forensic guys trained through ICAC and through all that. At the time when I was doing it was Celebrate and all that. You get them
Everybody know what
certified.
ICAC is, just so everybody's
Oh, I'm
clear.
sorry. Internet crimes
Internet
against
crimes against
children.
It's a
I don't even like-
internet
I don't
or
even like
national.
saying it.
Yeah.
Right. And we deal with NECMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That's where you're going to get a lot of your feedback. And actually, they'll give you leads to a lot of cases. But as far as the training goes, yeah, it's intense. And once you get one trained or one certified, you could find detectives that want to be in this field. And we would test them out. If they couldn't deal with the images, if they could, because I would show them what they're in for. Because a lot of the attorneys wouldn't even come in the labs. And I didn't fault them for it. But if you're going to try these cases, you have to be knowledgeable and you have to see what we're seeing and what's really out there.
One thing
And
I
so-
recommended was an annual heads-up checkup, an annual psych visit for the.
Oh yeah, we did it every 3 months.
Yeah, that's
Because-
probably even better.
Yeah, we had a retired state trooper came in. I can't remember his name. He was great because I was getting nervous because we were getting guys that were just. There was a couple females that didn't pan out. They thought they could handle it, and they were like getting ready to have babies, and one just had a baby, and it's just. And I do not fault. It's a horrible. If you don't believe in the devil, sit in a child porn lab, and the things you'll see will convince you that there's
Change your mind real quick.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, once you get a certified guy, say from ICAC, you could work the investigations as like normal. You don't need to be dumping phones or have that ability at first. You can just feed off of their cert, and then get them certified as time goes on. We had everyone certified one at a time, and I had a crew of 7 guys that were all certified at one time. So it works that way. You need it for court purposes. So as long as that person touches the phone, like when you're doing a dump or something like that, or any kind of digital device, as long as a certified person touches or is in the room and can sign off on what was being done, you get around it.
Yeah, and a lot of people just learn by being around it. Like, there was 1 or 2 people in our office that weren't certified per se off the bat, but once they, sat with us for a little while and they got certified, or they got to know it, we could sign off on it and we could oversee them doing the extraction. Yeah.
Yeah, you need them. They need to be certified because of the. It's a good defense. It's good for the defense if they can pull someone up there and they say, "What are your certifications on doing this extraction on this iPhone?" And if you don't have credentials, that's going to work against you. But if you have someone in that lab that is certified, you attach their name to that phone. Even though the guy who's working on the phone knows how to do the extraction is just as well as the other ones. They just have to know the language.
And if anybody gets confused about the language being used in here, it's because John is from North Carolina and Heather's from New Jersey, and the accents tend to confuse people.
And I got the South Jersey accent.
And Jason's from Minnesota.
I don't talk like that.
Well, if we really want to talk about accents, we can really pick apart all of us because we all sound absurd.
Just you. And if anybody's in New Jersey and supports 3D Response, Heather is our New Jersey rep. If you go to our website, her bio's on the website, and you can also send a contact us thing, and I can get you in touch with Heather. I think the big push out in New Jersey is to start rattling some cages with parents and legislators to adopt the bill that's in Minnesota. But it's going to start with parents getting vocal. So if you're in New Jersey, Heather's your contact out there. If you're in North Carolina, John's your contact in North Carolina. That's my little plug, sorry. And you wrote a book too, didn't you, Tom?
I wrote a couple books. The first one last year was published, Millstone Murders. That's on everything that I write in my books has happened. I just make it a psychological thriller. I put a lot of twists and turns into it. But all the events are basically what I have lived with and have dealt with. But again, I turn them into totally fiction.
That's one thing I wish I could do over again. And you did, we both did 3 decades of law enforcement, but I wish, and my son's just starting, and I told him the one regret I have is I wish I would have kept some sort of journal.
Yeah, I did. That's why I can come up with these stories. Ask Heather. I have the events and I've written them down. But I was always a writer. I always liked to write. So to write a journal was cathartic at the time. So I always wrote.
See, and my problem is I have a file cabinet in my brain that's closed, and I don't care to open it.
Right. Yeah, I know. Because when I rehash these stories or when I find my notes on them, it comes back and it stays with me for a couple hours afterwards. Like I don't want to. Sometimes I don't want to bring it up, but I think they should be told because people get the wrong idea about what law enforcement really is. Like they just think, oh, he went out and he went in the room and he saw a dead body. Well, there's a lot more to that. And that's what I'm trying to get across to our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
My filing cabinet is driving by a residence or a location, and I've forgotten about it till I drive by it, like there again.
You broke up, John.
Okay. That's good.
Do you guys want to? So my thought here was like plugging your show and your books and introducing you guys to this audience. There is a large group of people that fully support 3D Response and have been kind of taking it upon themselves to go to school board meetings and kind of get this word spread. And I apologize for my dog in the background.
Is that what that is? I couldn't tell whose dog that was.
My wife comes home and then he gets really vocal. So anyway,
Jason, there are two
Jason
things.
doesn't feed him.
Jason, there are two things you never have to apologize for: babies and dogs. If they're making noise, don't apologize. It's
Very
all
true.
Okay, then I'm apologizing for my wife then.
Well, she does plenty of apologizing for you, so it's just
Heather, just stop. The other thing I wanted to do is I sent Joker a video on the body cam footage from the Tennessee school shooting. And since there's 4 law enforcement folks in here and 3 of the 4 are very familiar with 3D Response, kind of watch the video, pause it, discuss it, and kind of critique how our system would have changed the outcome in that school. And I've done that for a lot of shootings, and overwhelmingly, I can say without hesitation that it minimizes or eliminates loss of life on pretty much every instant. And this case, I don't think would be any different. But Joker, if you want to play that and we can watch it and maybe pause it and kind of interject some comments.
I'll play it. You tell me when to pause it. Here we go.
Sure. Or anybody say pause it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
For starters, the teacher would not have been out. Nobody would have been outside. She would have been protected as well.
Yeah.
Into my window, they were upstairs.
Hey. Give me 3. Let's get 3.
All the way down this hall, listen, it's Fellowship Hall. The end of this hall is Fellowship Hall. They just said they heard gunshots down there, and then upstairs are a bunch of kids.
Let's go. I need 3. One more. Let's go.
You can pause it here, Joker. So first off, based upon the resources that the officers and the teachers had in this incident, the officers did a fantastic job. I'm not critiquing what they did because they did what they could with what they had. One thing that would have helped them approaching the building is an external communication where there's not a body outside, where over a PA system or some sort of microphone, they're being told, officers, we see you, come through the front door. Waiting for 3 more officers unless they're getting out of their car, you go. I think I would have went in a little bit sooner than that, but I'm not ripping on it. And lastly, get rid of keys. And you'll see it throughout this video, is the keys are a waste of time and a waste of momentum for the police. It actually slows them down. It slows their tactics down. So there's a lot of tools here that could have been in place that would have expedited just the making entry into the building. If anybody has any comments to that, go ahead.
It's my first thought that there wouldn't have been a woman standing outside at all with 3D.
Yeah, correct. Go ahead. Resume.
Metro Police!
Open door. On me. We don't know where he is. Metro Police, open door.
Going back to your comment a minute ago where you've got somebody basically telling them where the shooter is, you just heard the officer say, I don't know where he is.
Let's go. Door. With me.
You can pause it here too. So again, they're using the tools that they have. Their tactics are great. They're communicating great. Clearing rooms takes time. And again, this is where the communication piece falls into it. If there's video surveillance that can see the location of the shooter and it's being dispatched over the hallways, the officers would hear, we see you, come through the front door, go down the long hallway. The shooter is upstairs. You would go past all those classrooms, go upstairs, and now you see, rather than searching, you see them actually hunting. And right now they don't know where the suspect is, so they're doing a methodical room by room check to find the suspect. Meanwhile, their shots are probably going off on the floor above them and they can't hear them because they don't have any stimuli, so they're still searching. So that communication piece, when they enter the school, of go down that hall, you would see them running, like sprinting, listening to the directions, basically Google mapping them to where they need to be, and all this searching wouldn't be taking place. Go ahead. You can resume it.
Next. Open it. I got it.
Bathroom.
Let's go.
Come now. Let's go.
Just move right. Hover left. Take this with me. Take this. No, that's locked. Take this door. Take this door. Take it.
I think those were shots. Then they're going to start running to the shots.
How many officers are in there right now?
I believe 4.
Upstairs. It sounds like it's upstairs.
Let's pause it real quick. The difference in what I was trying to explain is once they heard that stimuli, they stopped searching and ran towards the shots. You can create that stimuli through an internal dispatching system being broadcasted. So you don't necessarily have to hear the shots. And what 3D Response does, it provides that communication to not only the staff, but also the police officers. So when they first enter, you don't need to hear screaming. You don't need to hear, your stimuli is being voiced to you on which direction to go. And you saw them go from methodically searching to now running towards the shooting. And every second counts in these things. And if you can take a 5-minute search to locate the suspect and bring that down to 30 seconds, that means many rounds not being fired. And that means potentially save lives. So what we're seeing now is the running towards it, and that's what we need to see.
Can you explain that stimuli? Like, explain how that works? Like,
when you enter any type of call, whether it's a domestic or an active shooter or whatever, you enter a building and you're looking for trouble. You're looking for something to set you off, like the problem's over here. I need to go this way. In an active shooter, it's kids screaming or it's kids running away from a certain area. It's actually hearing the shots, like in this case, they heard the shots. That's the stimuli to respond to that location to find the bad guy.
And how does 3D better that?
With an internal dispatching center, which basically In the admin office, we set up a command room. Basically, it's a administrative meeting room. We completely ballistically protect the inside of that room with a ballistic door and ballistic walls. All the camera feeds go into that room. Our head-in unit is in there. They will pick up our system microphone, and they're going to broadcast outside and inside the entire school. Before the officers get there, they're going to be telling the entire school where the intruder is. And once the officer gets there, now their stimuli is listening to that voice saying, come in the hallway, go straight. The shooter's upstairs. Take a right, take a left, and you're there.
Okay.
And Jason, to your point, I was watching the timer at the top there, and it was right at 2.5 minutes before they even heard the shot. So if they had 3D, that's shaving off 2.5 minutes to get to the threat.
Correct. And probably more from the time outside as well.
True, yeah.
All right, go ahead, resume.
Thank you.
Push the LPV up. Push the LPV up. Reloading. Clear. Move, move. Watch out, watch out.
Go, go.
Pause it real quick.
They go.
That's the way you respond. I mean, these officers did a great job, and I'm not being, they did phenomenal. Once they heard the shooting, they went to the sound and they took care of business without hesitation. The reason I wanted to play this is how that response could be enhanced. And right off the bat, we've just noticed we're saving upwards to 3 minutes for that interaction to happen. And that 3 minutes is critical. That could be somebody's, child that was injured if that time was taken back. So it's the communication piece is absolutely critical for schools to be able to do that internal messaging to officers on where to go. I don't even know if these officers have ever stepped foot in that school. They know the layout of the school. With that communication piece, you don't need to. It's take a left, take a right. The shooter's upstairs in the library. And
Even
here's
if
how
they
you do
have,
that.
even if they have, Jay, even if they've been in the school 3 million times, it's still not really, it's not going to help other than the fact that they know the layout of school. Aside from that, if you're being walked through, like you've said, through the communication center, it's shaving off, like you said, minutes, but you're not going in blind at that point. You could have a huge school that's thousands of square feet and you're not going in blind at that point.
Yeah, you literally take a 100,000 foot building and you narrow it down to a straight line, A to B. Go ahead and resume it.
Second floor. I don't have a radio closet, TV up. No, locked door. Where did they go in? First floor, first floor, first floor. Hold there, y'all. Somebody hold there. Hit that door. Rifle first. Rifle first. Blue, go. Go, 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 go. Go. Move. Move. I'm with you. Go left. Straight, straight. Right here, right here, right here, right here. It's locked. Go. Hit that stair. Hit the stairs. Go. Go stairs. Go stairs. Go. Go, 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 go. Go, go, go. I got it.
Can you pause it real quick? So another thing too to keep in mind, there's still children in this building. So while the officers are in there doing their search for this person, every child with our system would be behind a door with 1,200 pounds of magnetic pressure, level 7 ballistic panels, windows reinforced. They're their classrooms essentially became a safe place for them. A bullet's not going to enter that room. A body's not going to make entry through that room. It clears the hallway. If you notice here, the school's a ghost town. The last thing officers want to do is walk into a chaotic scene where children are running at them and trying to pick out who's who. Isolate the suspect to the hallways, and this school did a fantastic job at that. I didn't see any kids in the hallways. The suspect was isolated to common areas. So there's multiple things going on here at once in order to come out with the best response possible for the kids, the teachers, and the police. And I think the school and the cops did a great job on this. I will say, with the right resources inside that building, it could have been a lot quicker, a lot safer, and a lot more efficient. Go ahead.
Keep pushing. Go. Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired, move. Right. Push with LPVO. Push with LPVO. Go right. Move. Watch out. Move. Stop moving! Watch left. Suspect down. Hey, hold the air.
John, initial thoughts on it? Let's take and put our system in there and kind of break it down.
Yeah, so like you said, right off the bat, you got the key card access. Okay. Yeah, you've got the key card access. You're not fumbling with keys. You're not having to wait for a key for somebody. As soon as you walk through the door, you've got somebody, whether it be a staff member, saying, "Hey, officer, I see you coming through the front doors. Go to the end of the hallway, go up the stairs, hang a right, and shooters up. I think it was a library or some sort, some kind of an open area. I mean, you're literally shaving a good 3 minutes off of that. And when I read the details, the timeline of that particular shooting, obviously before any of the officers arrived, definitely with 3D, you definitely have a mitigation of loss of life and injury with the Nashville shooting, 100%.
So back it up even further. There's video of how this person got in the building, and basically she goes to the front door and just shoots the glass open and just walks through the busted glass. And then she basically had complete access to the whole school. Again, with our system, she's not going to get through that glass to make a hole big enough to get in the building. She probably would be sprayed with the bright yellow powder, the suspect identification spray. The whole thing could have ended right in the vestibule if the school was prepared for a breach like that. And those are things that a lot of schools don't look into. And that's why it's so important to look at the school as a whole, not just one part of the school. The system has to be spread throughout for the best response. And I'm a big believer in this case. She struggles in the main, just getting in the front door. She's struggling there.
Well, and one of the things that really bothered me, I mean, the whole thing bothered me, of course, but the one thing that really bothered me is when she shot out the glass, when she started shooting the glass out, and I may have their titles wrong, so I apologize, but the secretary and the principal or assistant principal heard the shots and walked out of the office into the hallway to see what the noise was. So I think with the 3D training, you're not putting those individuals out there. To your point, you're hitting the you're hitting the police button and then the SIS button. So you're never, I mean, in the perfect world, and we can't say what they would have done, but I do feel strongly that with, the 3D training, they wouldn't have put themselves in the way of some bullets. They wouldn't have gone outside the office. They would have been, behind ballistic, a level 7 ballistic, hit the buttons and, follow the training, follow the 3D training. That's, I can't say 100% that, they would still be alive today. But I know with the way it played out after that, absolutely, I'll stand behind that comment with the Nashville shooting, just like I do with Uvalde. But so yeah, I mean, it's there. Have it, the possibility of saving 2 lives right there because they both were shot and killed as soon as they walked out the office door.
Yeah, how many
victims were there at that?
I don't recall.
I've got it written down. Just give me a minute if you want to go back. No, I got it right here. 7 killed, 2 injured.
And was this a he or a she? The suspect.
Both.
What was it born with? Was it
female?
Okay.
Born female, identified as a male, then identified as expired, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
And I've said this before.
Also to know as a law enforcement officer, to know when you're going into a situation like that, if you know, like Jason, like the Lakeville schools that have 3D, if you're a cop in Lakeville and you're going into one of these schools, speaking from experience, I think all of us would agree that going in knowing that the children are safe, secure, and behind ballistic panel and behind magnetic doors, it lessens it's still obviously a very intense situation, but it secures your mind a little bit knowing that the kids are secure.
My biggest fear was having to shoot in a hallway and having a bullet, ricochet or miss and go through a wall and kill an innocent child. That with the kids being protected like that, it kind of takes that fear away from losing a round. And in those moments, you're not looking at your sights, you're pointing and shooting. But that was one of my biggest fears, was missing the target and hitting an innocent, or hitting a wall where there's a group of kids. That was always on the back of my mind. Was accuracy in those moments, which is hard to do when you're just got done sprinting down a hallway, and you're
whether or not you're going to get shot at yourself.
Yeah, the shooting. I don't even remember looking at my sights. I don't know if I did or I didn't, but it's every cop that we've sent through, and Heather, I think you were there for police training. Is that correct? Or not?
Yeah. Yes, I was there for police training.
The majority of the cops, after they went through with our system, called it a complete game changer from the police perspective on just arriving, hearing that information, locating the suspect so quick. In the past, they would literally run that whole school. I mean, it was almost like a half-mile jaunt, sprinting, trying to find this person. And to eliminate that and just go from A to B that quickly, law enforcement said this is a complete game changer for a response. And the other thing too is making entry in those rooms. We typically have a ballistic feature, whether it's a pocket door or hinge panel up against the door to the classroom, rather than slicing a pie, which is we saw these officers do, where they come in and they're trying to get as much of the room in their vision as they can, and then clearing little cubby holes. With our system, there's this ballistic features pulled out, and it's basically a body shield, level 7, that rather than exposing your whole body, you can just expose a fraction of your body with your weapon and clear the room behind cover now. So
and that said, when you talk about level 7 ballistic panels, I would imagine that somebody that doesn't really know what that really is picturing a fortress, so to speak. But to the naked eye, 3D is you wouldn't even know that it was in any school. Any school that I've seen it in, you don't even know that it's there. Like that's how seamless it is, which is a beautiful thing because the kids don't feel like they're in a fortress. The students, can just go their day to day, aside from like the little button on the wall for call the police. It's very subdued.
Yeah,
That
and
was
that
one
was
of the things that I liked about it. Is like you walk into a room and you see a dry erase board, and to a kid, or hopefully even to a teacher, you've got a teaching aid, a dry erase board. But at the end of the day, it's going to save your life if it come down to it.
that was a big push from when we started designing this. We had an educator, a lifelong educator, on our kind of research and development team, and the education big push was it has to be hidden. We can't change the feel of the school. So we've gotten pretty creative on how to hide these features, but also provide the features if they're needed. And that's one thing we take great pride in, is not making it look like a prison. And that's what a lot of certain people think of when they hear a 3D response, that we're just hardening buildings. Well, we're enhancing the building, we're enhancing the response to minimize loss of life, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
So real quick, John, before we go here, our weekly rip on AI intelligence, what'd you find out this week?
I mean, let me grab my notes here. How long we got? Oh, we got 10 minutes. All right. So yeah, almost daily, I'm finding new stuff out, and all I can do is shake my head. But in a nutshell, so Jason has been mentioning the last couple of shows that where some school districts are going to the drone system, and at the end of the day, it's not giving the stakeholders, the teachers, the students, the tools they need to be safe until law enforcement gets there. But what I have found out is kind of mind blowing in a way, not being that familiar with drones. But there's a school district in Texas that's going with this particular company, and I'm not going to name the company, but to give you an idea, they're saying that for every 500 students, they need one drone. That's at a cost of, if you take a school with, what do we say, Jason, 1,500 students, comes up to $36,000 a year. That's annually. That's every year, $36,000. The startup is going to be $15,000 per box. And what a box is a ballistic box that holds 6 drones. So, and you got to do some math here, but you're basically looking at a startup of $45,000 just to get it started. And then, like I said, you're looking at 36,000 on an average of 1,500 students, 36,000 a year. The other thing is, and I found this kind of interesting that I didn't think about, and Tom and Heather, you'll get this, with having been in law enforcement, is these drone operators, remote drone operators, are going to, if there's an actual shooting, they're going to have that adrenaline dump, just like we as law enforcement officers have had or will have in a shooting. And so then it comes
absolutely.
up,
That's an awesome point, John. It's so
yeah.
true.
So then it comes up to, and you think about it, you're going to be, you're going to develop the tunnel vision. You're going to develop the auditory exclusion, stuff like that. So you're basically going to be having that remotely. So there's the added stress. So then it comes into liability. You're throwing in another human factor in there, and humans make mistakes. Are they going to be emitting pepper balls or pepper spray where it don't need to be done? One of the things that we've discussed before, and Jason and I were talking about it before the show, is, and I'm going to hold off on some of the information that we've received here recently, but if there's another 9/11 type incident, one of the things that they're talking about is hitting schools. I'm not going to lie to you. So what's the first thing, or one of the first things they're going to do? They're going to cut power. They're going to cut internet. Well, then you've got, with these things being remotely controlled, you're going to have Wi-Fi failure. You're going to have power failure. Are they going to even be able to be operational if something like that happens? One of the companies that was actually doing a demo for a school district, they could not get some of the drones to connect during the demo. One of the news reporters for a local news agency was there covering the story and basically said, without saying, it was kind of embarrassing for the vendor. Like they couldn't even get the drones to connect and work the way they were supposed to work. So again, there's a lot of issues with it. Like Jason has said over and over, it's cool. It's it's new. It's state of the art. And people are jumping on this left and right. I'm getting email updates almost daily where school districts are looking at this, and I'm trying to get ahead of it, but I can't do it all. But it's like, stop throwing money at this stuff. It's not, because at the end of the day, you're still not giving the teachers and the students the tools that they need to be safe until law enforcement gets there. And there's so much that you can do with the drone as an active shooter. You can knock it out of the air. I saw a standoff the other day. It had nothing to do with AI or school shooting, but they had a guy held up in a hotel room. Well, they finally got the door open to the hotel room and they sent a drone in. The guy took the drone out with an AR. Luckily, the camera still worked, so they had live feed inside the room and could tell where he was. But he took the drone out with after about 2 or 3 shots with the AR. So that goes back to what Jason was saying. You got a shotgun. You don't even have to be good with the shotgun. Take it out. So
I think at the end of the day here, it's keep it simple, stupid. You got to look at who the stakeholders are and how do we protect the stakeholders. And right now we have vendors, educators, and architects deciding what's safe for our children. And I'd rather hear from people like us in this room who had boots on the ground that actually lived this life and trained in it, and for decades. Where are their voices on what will work? Because this technology stuff, to me, Murphy's Law exists, and if shit hits the fan, I do not want to rely on a battery-operated machine. I want sticks and stones. I want magnets and ballistically rated walls. I want nuts and bolts stuff to save my life and save the other people's life, not a remote control flying saucer. It's
right.
It's just
and
not.
What's keeping somebody from closing the door? I mean, that's going to keep the drone out. So.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. But teach their own. Heather or Tom, do you want to, last minute here, do you want to plug your show you got going? I know, Heather, you didn't get a chance to talk about it, but before we go, just tell people where they can find you and where they can find your show to tune in.
Yeah, we have weekly, usually weekly, maybe bi-weekly uploads on YouTube. The channel's called SOS, Shadows of the Shield. You really can't miss it. And we have a TikTok. We're working on X. Just started working on X, Instagram, and Facebook. But again, they're all true stories. Again, sometimes we change the names to protect for obvious reasons. But we've gotten pretty good feedback so far, and I think we're a relatively new channel. We already have over 3,000 subscribers, so we're headed in the right direction.
Heather, do we have do you have an email or SOS email?
Yeah, shadowsoftheshield@gmail.com.
Okay, because we invite any officer or anyone who has a good story.
Yeah. Could be dispatch, could be officer, could be detective. It could even be like EMT or EMS or fire or something. Somebody that has experienced something that they say, "Oh my God, that was crazy." In the worst case scenario, best case scenario, or. But we're open for any stories, and if you don't think it's much or you don't think it's worthy of being shared, think again, because we might think otherwise.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jason.
and I will say that Heather has already done one of the stories that I dealt with in communications. It's already out there. You can go listen to that. And correct me if I'm wrong. She's
Was that
working on another one.
was that your
It
undercover
just
on
so
Rumble?
happens that yours finished literally like 2 hours ago, John. So I have
Awesome.
him tweaking a few things right now, but it should be coming out either
Okay.
tonight or tomorrow night.
Was
All right,
that
cool.
John's undercover work on Grinder?
Oh, totally. Absolutely. It's already
I'm
that's
not
in
on
the back. That's in the background. Yeah.
Heather. Heather, don't entertain that.
I would never. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
no.
and it
And
is a cool show.
Jason's up
She,
next. He's gonna share a story or two with us. I think we'll see.
Yeah,
yeah, I
whenever you
like
guys
the way
want
it
to.
was put together.
Yeah, I think John, you were happy with how it turned out, and we showed it to you
Very.
beforehand, and you were happy with it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Like if anybody is interested in sharing a story, you could be as anonymous as you like. We could change the location. Nobody would even have any idea where, because that's not the important part of it. The important part is getting the story out. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter your name. It doesn't matter your title. It just matters what happened.
And you do find it as an officer, you don't think it, but you do find that it's getting your story out there, and you may have told your real company that's close to the vest those stories, but if you want to get it out there, it is cathartic. It does help if you have something that it's impactful to yourself and to your family.
Definitely.
Share it. It does help.
Like John, I have to admit, I was reading mine, or I was playing mine to my parents just a little bit ago, and they both looked at me and they said, "I bet you that helped you to read it." And I said, "Yeah, it actually did." So it does go a long way further than we actually think. And I didn't even think anything of it actually when I got the story. But then when they were talking about it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? It did. It felt good to read it because I can relate to you. I can relate. We can all relate on some level, whether
Yeah.
it's personally or we know somebody who's gone through something or you hear about it in the news. You can still relate to it.
Even though all my stories are very sad.
Yeah, we had to. I said to Denazia, we have to throw in something a little uplifting because people are going to just stop.
I got a couple funny ones. Tasing
well, we're
the
going to have to
turkey
get those,
6
Jay.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they're things that have played a part, had an impact on your career. That's what we're looking for, because we want to show people that cops aren't just the stereotypical thing that we're painted as. There's more to us. There's a lot behind that shield that we want to
That
get
is
out.
exactly why I wanted to start this, because I just feel like there's so much negativity out there, and to be able to share like true stories, like how did you feel when this was happening, and to get the side of law enforcement, and for lack of a better phrase, I was shitting my pants to get that realism out there, or oh my god, took every part of me not to fall down and cry. That's real, and that's what cops are. They're real, and the media unfortunately has painted such a negative picture of us, so it's a great platform to get the truth out.
Well, Heather, that was one of the things that that kind of pushed me to doing this last one. If nothing else, people that are outside of law enforcement, hopefully it will open their eyes to we are human beings, number one, just like they are. Two, we have shit that happens to us in real life, and sometimes it should. This also should show that we are treated just like anybody else may be treated in a similar situation. And basically, at the end of the day, we're no different than the average person walking up and down the sidewalk right now.
You're different.
We're still the same.
You're different, John.
You're different, Jason, in a special kind of way.
You were not addressed to speak right there.
I know I wasn't addressed, but
You're a guest.
I'm
Heather,
texting.
remember.
oh, I'm a guest.
I'm
I'm sorry. I have to shut up.
I'm texting Aaron right now.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Jace.
Yeah,
Thank
you bet.
you so
Thank
much,
you guys.
Jay.
Anytime. We'll have to do it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Joker, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
good night. Everyone, have a good night.
You too.
You
We'll
too.
see you guys.
Take care, okay? Be safe.
Yep. You too.
All right.
Boy.
You sit bound by the laws of logic. Just beyond the horizon lies a frequency unseen, where the bizarre finds a voice. Footprints that vanish. Metallic craft gliding through skies. Whispers from shadow figures. Ghost steps in an empty corridor. Don't keep your secrets in the dark. Call in at Joker's Wild, Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern.